Welcome to Coding. This is your weekly cybersecurity podcast where we try to cut through all the noise and bring you the stories and insights that, well, actually matter. Today, we're going to do a bit of a rapid-fire look at some of the latest threats. We're talking AI-powered deception stuff that could fool almost anyone. Then there are these huge data leaks and some really critical software vulnerabilities. They're hitting everything from like your phone all the way to supermarket fridges. It's moving so fast. So we've pulled together a stack of reports, expert insights, and we're going to try and help you make sense of what's really important here.
Yeah, it's a lot to cover, and it's definitely urgent. Understanding this stuff isn't just about, being informed. It's really key to staying secure day to day. The threats are speeding up, so our awareness needs to keep pace too.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right in. First up, this threat that honestly it feels like something out of sci-fi, but it's happening right now. AI impersonation scams. Imagine this. You get a frantic call. The voice. It sounds exactly like your best friend, maybe your parent, even your boss. They're saying they're in trouble, they need money, like right now. Your first instinct is probably to help, right? But what if that voice? What if it's not them at all, just a perfect AI copy?
That's exactly it. That's the terrifying part of AI impersonation. It's a type of fraud that's just exploding right now. Cybercriminals are using AI, artificial intelligence, to mimic someone's voice, their face, even how they type. And the accuracy is getting, well, frankly, alarming. And the way they do it, voice cloning, for instance, it's gotten surprisingly simple. Often they only need a few seconds of audio.
A few seconds? Where would they even get that?
Well, think about it. Voicemails, interviews posted online, social media videos, clips from online classes, even podcasts like this one. It's all potential training data for these AI models.
Right. And the stats you mentioned are, well, they're pretty shocking. Moonlock is reporting a 148% jump in these AI scams just in the last year. And they're targeting everyone, individuals, businesses, through calls, video meetings, messages, emails. It's like a digital dragnet.
Yeah, and what's really fueling this surge is how the tech has improved so fast. It's more powerful, it's cheaper, and the tools are just more widely available now. We're seeing some serious real-world impacts already, like scammers impersonating company execs on video calls to get huge wire transfers approved. You might remember the Erupt case back in 2024, a UK engineering firm. They lost something like $25 million because criminals faked their CFO on a video call.
$25 million. Wow.
And it's not just businesses. Even politicians. The FBI warned about vishing, that's voice phishing calls, mimicking Senator Marco Rubio. So high-profile figures are definitely targets too.
It's so unsettling because it hits us right where we're vulnerable to trust. You hear a familiar voice, you see a familiar face. The U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee even put out a warning saying that trained professionals are getting tricked by this stuff.
Exactly. It bypasses a lot of our usual skepticism. It's not just about being tech-savvy anymore. These scams weaponize our own instincts.
Yeah.
And the tech keeps getting better. Palbox, they're an email security company. They found almost 48% of these AI-generated phishing attempts. They get right past current security filters.
Nearly half.
Yeah. Whether it's email filters, call blocking, the AI is often one step ahead. It shows a big gap in our defenses right now.
Okay, so this feels pretty overwhelming. If these scams are so good, they exploit trust, they create urgency, how do we actually fight back? What can people listening do, practically speaking?
Well, the single most important thing is actually pretty simple, but it's hard to do when you're feeling panic. You need to slow down and independently verify. Scammers absolutely rely on that sense of urgency. There's this idea called the Take 9 initiative.
Take 9.
Yeah, just pause for 9 seconds. 9 seconds before you react. It sounds small, but it can give your rational brain that crucial moment to kick in and question things.
That makes a lot of sense. So if you get a weird call or maybe a video, even if it sounds like someone you know asking for urgent help, what's the move?
Hang up. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Just hang up. Then call them back, but use a phone number you already have stored for them, not a number they just gave you or one that showed up on caller ID. Call their known number. That completely bypasses the scammer's setup. It verifies if you're actually talking to the real person. Scammers count on you reacting in that moment.
Right, break the chain of urgency. Got it. Are there other clues, like with deepfake videos or AI voices?
Sometimes, yeah. They're getting better, but there can still be subtle giveaways. For videos, look closely at mouth movements. Do they perfectly sync? Is the background weirdly still or maybe flickering? Is the eye contact just a bit? off. With AI voices, listen for things like unnatural pauses, maybe a very slight metallic sound, or background noise that doesn't quite fit or seems inconsistent. Tiny details, but they can be tells.
Okay, good tips. And I guess this leads back to something we always talk about, multi-factor authentication, MFA.
Absolutely crucial, always.
Yeah.
Even if criminals somehow get your username and password, maybe from a data breach, MFA is that second lock in the door. It may make it so much harder for them to actually get into your account. Seriously, enable it everywhere you possibly can. It's your best basic defense.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you mentioned data breaches fueling this. That seems like a good transition. These AI scams don't just pop up out of nowhere, right? They often use data stolen from other places, which brings us to, well, the constant drumbeat of data breaches and how even data that doesn't seem that sensitive can still be a big problem.
Exactly. Look at the recent incident with Navy Federal Credit Union, NFCU. It's the biggest credit union in the U.S. A cybersecurity researcher, Jeremiah Fowler, found they were accidentally exposing about 378 gigabytes of backup data online, just out there on the open web.
Whoa, 378 gigs. Was that like member account numbers and stuff?
Fortunately, no, not plain text financial data like account numbers directly. But it was still really sensitive internal stuff. Things like
Hmm.
storage locations, encryption keys, hash passwords, so not plain text, but still potentially crackable internal usernames, email addresses, system logs, operational details, even business logic.
Okay, so even if it wasn't direct account access, Fowler said it was a significant potential risk. How? How could attackers use that kind of, I guess, internal info? What's the danger for regular members?
That's a really important question. Okay, so attackers could take those internal usernames, emails, and especially the hashed passwords, and try them elsewhere online. That's called credential stuffing. People reuse passwords all the time, so a stolen password from one place might unlock accounts somewhere else entirely. Plus, they could use all that internal operational info, the names, the system details, to craft incredibly convincing phishing emails or social engineering calls.
Ah, so they could pretend to be NFCU staff using real internal details to sound legitimate, maybe tricking people into giving up actual login details or installing malware.
Precisely. It makes their scams much more believable. Now, NFCU locked down that database quickly once they were told, but we don't know who set it up, how long it was actually exposed, or crucially, if anyone else found it and copied the data before the researcher did. Those are big unknowns.
So the takeaway here for everyone listening is even data that seems kind of secondary, internal stuff, it can absolutely be the first step in a bigger attack. It really underlines why you need to be super skeptical of any unexpected communication claiming to be from your bank or credit union. And again, MFA everywhere. Every little bit of data counts.
Mm-hmm. Every digital breadcrumb matters.
Okay, let's shift gears again. We've talked about AI making scams more believable. Now let's talk about AI making attacks faster, like way faster, automated exploits.
Yeah, this is maybe one of the most concerning developments. We're seeing AI tools dramatically shrink the time window defenders have. What used to take days, maybe even weeks, can now potentially happen in minutes.
Minutes.
Well, there's a lot of buzz, both good and bad, around a tool called HexStrike-AI. Now, it was designed as a legitimate tool for red teaming that's basically ethical hacking to test defenses. But it's open source. And cybercriminals are definitely talking about it, likely trying to use it. What it does is connect large language models, think GPT, Claude, that kind of AI, with a whole library of over 150 existing cybersecurity tools. It has this intelligent decision engine that automates tasks.
What kind of tasks?
Things like scanning networks for weaknesses, actually exploiting those vulnerabilities, and even generating reports. It automates the attack chain.
And that's what cuts the time down from days to minutes.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
For certain vulnerabilities. It means as soon as the flaw is discovered and announced, attackers using tools like this could try to exploit it almost instantly. It creates this incredibly high-stakes race for defenders to patch systems before they get hit.
Wow. Are there specific examples where this is happening now?
There's definitely chatter suggesting yes. Hackers seem to be using HexStrike-AI or similar automated methods to target some recently found flaws in Citrix, NetScaler ADC, and gateway products. We're talking CVE 2025, 7775, 7776, and 8424. These could allow an attacker to run their own code remotely without even needing to log in. And the really worrying part, CVE 2025-7775 is already being actively exploited out there.
Already exploited. So the race is on. That speed is terrifying for defenders. Now, besides these super fast automated attacks, we're still seeing other major issues, right? Like supply chain attacks. The sales loft drift thing sounded pretty widespread.
Oh, absolutely. That was a classic and quite impactful supply chain attack. What happened there was attackers stole special kinds of digital keys, oath and refresh tokens from a platform called SalesDrift. SalesDrift is basically a connector. It links Drift's AI chatbot service with Salesforce using SalesLoft in the middle.
Okay, so not passwords exactly, but these tokens, what do they let attackers do?
Think of them like long-lasting permission slips. They grant access to a user's data and actions within connected apps, sometimes even if the main password gets changed later. So with these stolen tokens from SalesDrift, the attackers could then pivot, essentially jump sideways, into the actual customer accounts connected through it. Hundreds of organizations were affected, including some big names in cybersecurity itself, like Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, Cloudflare.
Even the cybersecurity companies got hit.
Shows how tricky supply chain attacks are. The data stolen was mostly things like business contacts, account info, internal sales notes, that kind of stuff. But still, significant disruption and risk.
It's a huge reminder that your security is only as strong as the weakest link in your entire software chain, including all those third-party tools.
Okay, and it's not just software, is it? We also saw vulnerabilities in physical infrastructure. Something about refrigerators. Yeah, the Frostbite 10 flaws. These were found in Copeland E2 and E3 controllers. These little devices are everywhere, managing temperature in commercial refrigerators and HVAC systems. You find them in loads of supermarkets. Kroger, Albertsons, Whole Foods were mentioned as examples. Critical infrastructure, really.
And what was the risk there? Could someone, turn off all the freezers?
Potentially, yes, and worse. There were 10 different vulnerabilities discovered. When chained together, an attacker could achieve unauthenticated remote code execution with root privileges. Basically, full control over the device remotely, without needing a password, with the highest level of access. They could disrupt operations, potentially spoil inventory, maybe even use it as a jumping-off point into the store's wider network.
Yikes. Is there a fix?
Yes. Copeland released firmware updates. They're advising everyone to upgrade, ideally to the newer E3 model, running at least version 2.31 F01. But the key thing, like always, is patching. Once these flaws are public knowledge, any unpatched device is just a sitting duck. Attackers specifically scan for them.
Right, the patch race again. Okay, one last big one for this segment. That WhatsApp zero-click bug targeting Apple users. Zero-click sounds bad. What does that mean exactly?
It is bad. Zero-click means the attack can succeed without the victim doing anything at all. No clicking a link, no opening a file, no downloading an attachment. In this case, it involved two flaws chained together, CVE 2025-55177 and CVE 2025-43300. Exploiting them allowed attackers to compromise iPhones and Macs just by sending a specially crafted message through WhatsApp. The user wouldn't even know.
So just receiving the message is enough to get hacked.
Exactly. That's why it's so dangerous. It bypasses all the usual user awareness training. You could be the most careful person in the world and still get hit. Now, these were reportedly very targeted attacks, affecting maybe less than 200 users worldwide. They're usually linked to sophisticated spyware campaigns, often run by nation-states for espionage purposes. Not something the average person needs to panic about daily, but it shows the level of threat that exists.
Still chilling, though. Okay, wow. What a tour of the current threat landscape. So just to recap, we've seen these incredibly convincing AI impersonation scams exploding. We've talked about the constant risk from data leaks, even seemingly minor ones. We've seen the terrifying speed of automated attacks using tools like HexStrike-AI hitting things like Citrix, and the ongoing need to patch everything from critical infrastructure like those Copeland controllers to apps like WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's a lot, but the core message, I think, for you listening remains consistent. It comes down to vigilance, questioning things that seem off. It's about prompt updates, patching those vulnerabilities quickly. It's critical thinking, especially with urgent requests. And it's layered security things like MFA are absolutely non-negotiable these days. Honestly, knowing about these threats, understanding how they work, that knowledge is probably your most valuable defense. It empowers you to react smartly.
That's a great point. Knowledge really is power here, which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone to chew on. As AI keeps getting more powerful, used for both attacking us and hopefully defending us, where does our ultimate security lie? Is it going to be purely an AI arms race? Or does that human element, our ability to just pause, to question, to verify, does that remain our most essential firewall? Something to think about. Thank you so much for tuning in to Calm Coding this week. We hope this helps you navigate the digital world a bit more safely. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.